All right. So this one, again, that I just really related to, how we talk to ourselves is how we will show up. Can you discuss the power of positive self-belief and self-talk and just how you prioritize your values and surrounding yourself with the correct people? So, the self-belief, but then also making sure you keep the right people around you.
Yeah. So I feel like my life is really indicative to not giving up on my standards and what I thought was possible. And so back to my childhood, after my whole dad stuff, happened and my parents split, I can remember telling my mom on a walk and all my friends of like, I'm going to be somebody someday. Like there is just no way that my dad's addictions or my parents' divorce, I'm going to be a victim of that. I'm the only one who's going to lose if I lean into that victimhood. And I was even more determined than ever just to like make something of my life, not knowing what that meant or anything. But 10 years later, when the opportunity for Back on My Feet came, and within those 10 years, I had graduated from college in 3 years, as you mentioned, graduated from grad school in a year, moved to Minnesota, moved to DC, moved to Philly on my own. Like I had just made many of these decisions around uncertainty that I have proven to myself I can figure things out. And so continuing with that mindset of like, I'm preparing myself for the moment and the opportunity that I am going to either manifest or manifest or something, I'm going to be ready for it. And so people would say, how did you like have the nerve to walk away from everything and start this nonprofit? And I'm like, I was preparing myself for it. It didn't even feel like a choice, Manning. It felt like I'm ready. Like this is my dad's addictions is why that I was drawn to these guys. I'm a runner. I'm using running as a vehicle. It felt so authentic. And so stepping into that person that I'm like, this is who I was supposed to always be. So the same thing for Solidcore. Now, this doesn't mean I've never had limiting beliefs and doubts, but having that bank of positivity to combat all of those things with like, don't you forget who you are. Like these doubts happen to everybody. You're just being tested. And like, I remember getting a $75,000 offer for Solidcore before I'd even opened Studio One for 30% stake in the business because I was nervous. And I was telling my friend, I'm like, oh gosh, I'm going to use all my money. And he made me that offer. And I remember thinking, maybe I'm going to take this. It would be really smart for me just to bank $75K in case this doesn't work out. And the moment that comes out, right? It's like telling your wife that you're going to be like, hey, I'm going to just like park 30% of my energy and my time and my money over here, just in case this doesn't work out. What happens when things get hard? You start to lean into that 30% and you start to be like, man, I'm really glad I didn't go all in on this. And so just even thinking that out loud, I'm like, no, if I have the money to do this, if I'm not willing to put it all in, that tells me I shouldn't do it at all. That tells me I'm doubting myself. I don't believe in myself and I have no business starting this company.
Right.
And I even feel the same about my husband. Like I was engaged twice before my husband and I called off those engagements because it was just like, I don't think this is what I imagine marriage or my partner, like this is wrong. I'm making a bad decision here. I'm going to hold off. This is going to be difficult. And especially the second engagement when like my mom was like, are you kidding me? I'm like, I can't go through with this. I'm just not going to do it. And I always knew someone like Brett existed. His playfulness, his athleticism, the flirtation that we have on a daily basis, the energy between us, like I knew who I was looking for and just never like giving up on that and getting married when I was 43 years old. We're like family planning to have a baby when I'm 44. Like I do not care. I wasn't going to do things based off of anybody else's timeline or expectation of like, well, that's just the way life is, Anne. And I'm like, I don't think it has to be, you know?
I think a lot of women need to hear like more of that because I feel like they put so much pressure on themselves to find the right person early and have a family early. And it's like, and I even have guy friends or like my girlfriend's like wants me to get married, you know? And it's like, so I don't know, like, can you go a little deeper on that? Just like what, because it sounds like you didn't want to settle. You just knew your intuition was telling you that this is not right. And the truth is, now look at you. It's like you made the right decision. So I think there's something to be said about listening to what you know is what is best for you. Like, you know?
Yeah, and you're also talking about the rest of your life here.
It's
So
forever.
you're right. You're in a hurry to make a decision for a timeline for the rest of your life. I think that's a big reason why, frankly, divorces happen, because we are so fixated on achieving this by this date. And gosh, I mean, I didn't know who I was in my 20s, right? I'm still a baby and a kid and learning everything. And I think you'll start to see a lot of people, at least I hope so, making decisions later in life about who you want your life partner to be once you've had some life experiences of your own and you get comfortable enough in your own skin. You can stand up for yourself. You maybe tolerate less. You know what your standards are for yourself and people you want to be around. But yeah, I just sort of was like, I'm going to walk down this aisle. Like, I don't want to be like, well, if it doesn't work out, I'll get a divorce. Like, I just never, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I just didn't, I'm like, I don't care if I ever get married. There's no societal expectation like there was back in the 60s and 70s, you know, like you need a man for all these things. So I don't know. I just think you're talking about the rest of your life.
Did you meet Brett before or after? Like, were you in the middle of solid core? Or was it after?
I was in the middle of like actually doing a transaction that fell apart. We were supposed to sell in November of 22 and they backed out of the deal. Like that's happened to me twice. So yeah, I mean, we met in August of 22 and like fell in love really quickly and like just kind of moved in together and we got engaged a year later. But yeah, it was right before the solid core sale. So we were August and then I sold it in April. So he was around for like 8 months.
Good for Brett.
Yeah, I know. It's funny because
he hit the jackpot.
No, but Manning, like he tells his story. He'll like call his friends, like, I met this girl. She's great. She's so fun, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, but she's fucking really successful. And his friends were like, oh yeah, man. Like, do you want to have a pity party? But
seriously, it is funny though. Yeah. Like, you know, like, because most of the time, sometimes, you know, it's the other way around. So it's like awesome to see you. You're like, you know,
and totally. And you know, you hear these men who can't date women who make more money. And I'm just like, listen, women are on their way up and they're not going anywhere. And you better do the work on yourself to get used to women making a lot of money. It also could be a pretty awesome thing.
I love what you said about
How did you grow up?
You know, typical like parents married, dad very successful. But I think one of the things that happened to me that I recognized was my dad was extremely successful. And then he had a business partner steal his company and he lost everything. And so we moved out of like, you know, mansion basically, you know, back then. I mean, it was a very nice house on the golf course, you know, and then into like a 2-bedroom apartment.
Wow.
And going through that and like, and it was right when I was going into college. So it was like, I said to myself, like, that'll never happen to me. It was like, you know, like, and then also, and I still feel like it hasn't happened yet. I mean, you know, I haven't had my moment yet. But also I now that like actually we're talking about it, I think subconsciously it's like, I'm going to make the money back for them.
Yeah.
You know, like now that I really think about it, I mean, this probably is the first conversation where that's come up in a long time. But yeah, because it is interesting. Like you always wonder like why you have such a drive to take it all the way and to never give up. And no matter what obstacle, no matter what setback, like you just never quit. And I would say, yeah, there's a little bit of that. There's also a little bit of, I thought I was going to be a professional athlete. So
what sport?
Football.
Okay.
So I went to Auburn. Well, so I broke my back in high school, my junior year in high school. And everybody, the doctors, everybody told me I wouldn't even walk. And so I rehabbed myself back, you know, could do the splits and was like a phenom. Came back my senior year, was defensive player of the year in Alabama, earned a scholarship to Auburn University. I was called a preferred walk-on, came in with the scholarship players, but had to earn the scholarship. And I did. And then, right when I was about to be the starter, I broke my ankle. And then right before I was going to be the starter again, I broke my back again. And then finally had to make a decision to let that dream die. That's when I jumped into kinesiology, exercise science, health promotions to learn how to help others not go through what I went through. But to have that dream taken away from you and thinking that you're going to be going down a certain direction and then it's like completely changes. you have this thing like, oh, but I'm gonna make it in other ways, like, you know. So, and I've had
it's like
visions.
someone took something from you and you're like, no, like I got to figure out a different path, and I'm not going to succumb, and I'm not going to be nobody. Like, it's almost even more so.
And I know you said this in a lot of your interviews, that you knew you were meant for greatness. Like there was something inside of you that you knew it. And that's how I've been since I was like, I mean, my mom will tell you, I mean, since I was like, I was always the star in the plays, you know, since like third grade. So I always have felt like I'm meant for more, like always. Can you discuss the power of uniqueness and how it has played a huge role in your success, both personally and professionally?
Oh yeah. So like, I sort of think as an entrepreneur, right? I know what I'm good at. I know how to build curated, high quality branded experiences that no one's ever experienced before. And I sort of think that was my leg up of like, I don't make chairs, right? I'm like, I don't really know how to compete in that world to get people to buy chairs or do whatever. But there was no nonprofit that used running as a vehicle to help homelessness. You know, I'm like, no one's doing that. I'm going to do that. I'm going to be the only one who's doing that. Same thing with solid core. When I discovered Pilates, I'm like, no one's really doing this on a big scale yet. Like I know how to scale things and I know how to implement community better than anybody else. So because I know how to scale quickly, I'm going to start this and I'm going to get ahead of everybody else who already has 5, 10 something locations. And because the workout was so unique, like this is the same thing. Like it's like a cool water brand, right? You're like, this place hasn't been disruptive. Everybody tries to be like, you know, clean, non-offensive marketing. And you're sort of, again, wait, is this a cocktail? Is it a beer? You're getting people's face in an innovative, unique way. And our tagline for Solid Core for so long was like, it's the hardest workout you've never tried. And so that curiosity, it was like people would ask us to describe it. And we're like, we really can't. You know, it's not really Pilates, it's resistance training on a reformer, but you're going to just have to come and experience it. So the word of mouth behind Solid Core that you probably realized too, people love to talk about the fact that they work out and they love to talk about how sore they are. So after doing a Solid Core class, because it was so different, people had to tell everybody, I did this class, you need to go try it. So it was the power of leaning into that uniqueness from a business wise. And then personally, you know, like I have short blonde hair, I wear crop tops, and I have tattoos. I'm a hard person to like forget. And I think that itself communicates confidence. So when I went in to raise money for private equity, I went in just like this, right? You could see my core, you could see my abs, and I tried to be funny and I tried to be even flirtatious. I leaned into the fact that I was a confident woman. And I think because many of those guys weren't used, they were used to women walking in those doors, buttoned up, behaving, let me not say the wrong thing, let me just answer your questions. And they're kind of unforgettable. Right. So I was, like me or not, you're not really going to forget after you either see me or have a conversation with me. And I stepped into that and it helped exude confidence.
Love it.
Yeah.